Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today I'm going to be demonstrating a landscape painting utilizing just two colors. We might add more, we'll see from here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new, just so you kind of know the flow of things, these are filmed live on Twitch, so I'm live streaming this at the moment. And I usually take about 5 minutes to get the painting started, prep the paper, talk about what's going on. So if you want to skip ahead, feel free. Okay, so I have my Kindle on the side set up. I'm going to take a large hake brush to saturate my paper. This is 11 by 14 quarter sheet of Stonehenge Aqua. Cold press, 140 pounds. And I'm going to paint wet and wet. Now today is also the first time I'm allowing one of the cats into the art room. I don't really have any oil paints hanging around, so you shouldn't make too much of a mess of that. And yeah, so I think he's doing pretty good. He's just exploring right now. I'm just watching him out the corner of my eye. I think once he realizes there's nothing too much exciting in here, he might leave. In fact, he's going out the door now. He might come back. Okay, so our paper is wet. We're gonna let it sit and soak. I'm gonna use this little sushi tray as a palette. I'm gonna use two colors I don't usually use, so I'm not gonna put it on my main palette. And this is from yesterday's experiment of, what did I do yesterday? It was the purple and lemon yellow, which came out with like a beautiful pink with those. I've been trying to get that video saved off of Twitch, but it's just not saving for some reason. And then I upload it to YouTube. Okay, so today I'm going to use Indigo and Vermilion. Okay, the one is the Van Gogh brand. The other one is Da Vinci. Indigo nowadays, I believe, is a mixture usually of a black and blue. Though I do have an oil paint that's a mixture of, I think, two different blues. Here it says, actually this isn't black and blue, this one is PB27, Prussian Blue, PV19, quinacridone Violet. Okay, so that's what this one is made with, and light fastness is very good. Then I have Van Gogh brand Vermilion, which is, I don't know if these ones say the pigment information on it. I know they have a pigment chart online. I'm not seeing it. It's not actual Vermilion, I don't think. Oh yeah, there it is. PR257PY154. I'm not sure what those two pigments are. So PR254, PY157. Just in case you want to look those up. Okay, the paper is stretching. Push it down to flatten it. The reason I picked these two, not too much of a reason why I picked the two, I just wanted to kind of experiment and see what would happen with these two. I have some other Indigo from other brands. And maybe down the line, if we like this mixture, we'll experiment with the different brands Indigos. I mainly have it for a three-colored palette of quinacridone gold and brown madder. All right, so we're gonna paint fast and loose, and we will use kind of a wiping back and forth method. We're also going to play with the rigger and maybe the card, see how it scrapes, etc. So let's jump into it. Now on the live stream, once again, we have Silas. Good morning, how you doing today? It's going pretty good. Just getting started. Slept kind of late and then had a slow start to the day. How about y'all self? It's pronounced Celias. Okay, so that's how you pronounce that. Oh, very cool. One thing with you know, the live streaming and whatnot is there's people from all over the world or different pronunciations of their name and whatnot, and using that Kindle, I have one of those cheap HD7s, it's hard for me to look and see what the lettering is. Now, I think I want to grab some pure Vermilion first. Oh, okay. So let's get some Vermilion on there, and then we'll play with the mixture of these two. This mixture is coming out very dark and gives an interesting neutral. Let's put a wash on. Now, with this method, and I've said this before with the other color combinations, we wind up using a lot of pigment. I'm not sure if it's the brand or just because we're so wet and we wind up going back and forth with mixing things. But I think we'll get an interesting neutral out of it. So, Tiffany in the live chat, how y'all doing? Okay, so this mix, let's see, you can see the hints of the indigo in it. Really not much hint of the vermilion taking place. And then we have Hammy, who I just put outside the room. He's unfortunately crying a little bit. He is my favorite cat, and he loves to be held. So, in a bit, after this, I'll go out there and play with him. Okay, so I'm going to build up this pigment on the screen. It kind of looks like a Payne's gray. And we'll create a composition. So far, we've had success with sap green and Venetian red, phthalo green and quinacridone rose, and yesterday was purple and lemon yellow. And with this method, as we create this composition and let it come to life, we can take the paper towel and wipe back and start getting our subtle tones. So this is a technique adopted from oil painting being applied to the watercolor. We don't have a composition in mind. Nothing's really forming just yet. But we'll see. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a lot of what Turner used when he was doing his watercolors. Almost every technique utilized in watercoloring today was invented by J.M.W. Turner. an amazing landscape painter from 1800s England. Let's see. Now, with this, trying to fill up the sky, seeing where I want to go with it. I'm thinking you might do a light source with a reflection down here since we're going landscape. We'll lift in this spot, so moving the location of that. And one thing we can utilize, if I can find it within grabbing distance, we can work with the magic eraser later on. Okay, so as per usual, this is that one method of additive subtractive. I'm just looking for shapes. The mix is so far pretty light. Let's increase the pigment concentration and see what we can achieve with that. Okay, so here's a more pure from the tube pigment concentration. So we have hints of blue and that orangey red, which vermilion, which being that this isn't pure vermilion, just like this isn't pure indigo, those two colors, when they were used historically, I believe had light fastness issues. Also, vermilion, I think, had health issues associated with it. So it's a mixture of those two, but vermilion, you can use it as a replacement for cadmium red light. If you're familiar with what's called the Zorn palette, which is a yellow ochre, ivory black, titanium white, and cad red light, you can use vermilion in place of that. So we're building up the pigment concentration. Two reasons for that. First and foremost, we're working with landscapes, especially making up a landscape. You want to keep in mind your aerial perspective or atmospheric perspective. And what that is when you recede into the picture plane, things get lighter, they get purpler or grayer or bluer. So we have a receding light area. As we come forward, we build up a darker density. We also have more of a visual clarity with things that are closer. And then medium-wise, meaning working with the watercolor itself, if you increase your pigment load, it will prevent back runs, etc. These paintings, thank you for the compliment. My paintings usually sell for around $75, give or take, with the watercolors. Where I'm at locally, it's we're not really a well-to-do area, so I'll sell at farmers markets, things like that. However, when I donate my paintings to charity, they auction for more. I had one that we printed onto a canvas and put in a cypress frame and that one auctioned for $500, and that went to building a splash pad and a local skate park. No, just $75. But so $500 for that one. Numerous like silent auctions, charity auctions, things like that. When I donate, they usually pull about $100 for those. Fast and loose watercolors really don't pull a lot of money in unless you have your very big name and you have a very big presence online. I sell on Etsy and all those type of pages as well, and they usually go for $60 to $80 on there. The whole selling art game, it's a difficult one, and to actually make a living off art is very, very difficult. In fact, you often have to hold seminars and classes and whatnot, write books, do videos, etc. I do a little, I have the Patreon account, but I like doing the free videos and having those things up on YouTube. And this one's just more experimental. Now, I'm going to scrape back with the credit card. This is going to kind of just give us a moment to create this composition, add life, create variety in it, sorry. And in a live chat, they ask, they have a little puppy and what they should name it. I think you should name the puppy Claude, after the painter Claude Lorraine. We had a bearded dragon named Claude, and after Claude Lorraine, and also on the pun that she had claws. Now our bearded dragon, new one, is named Naga, which is, I think it means worm in Hindu. Claudia is a nice name as well. I apologize if you hear Hammy crying in the background, the cat. Our cats are named Hammy, Harrison, and Haynes. The theme obviously being starting with H. So during this scraping process, I used a variety of techniques. The rounder edge of a card, either a credit card, a hotel key card, anything like that, you can push that in and get that wider scrape taking place. You could use a flatter, wider edge for rock structures. You can go sideways for other techniques as well. So there's a lot of things you can pull out of using a credit card. Now, one day on Amazon, I ordered this 20-pack of magic erasers that cost me maybe $10, and I think this is the second one I'm pulling out of this, just because I can't find my other one. And within painting, you can use a magic eraser to clean back to the white of the paper. Now, magic eraser, if you look online, it's a material called melanin foam. Melanin foam is an abrasive, but there's no chemicals added to it. So you don't have to worry about it you know, having long-term effects like using bleach or something like that on the paper itself. So you can use it to wipe back, or you could take a longer time of adding and subtracting it. Now, lifting up kind of reflection. Place. Let's grab some more water. I feel personally that the composition is very bland right now, so I'm just adding it back in and I'm lifting back up. So when you use the paper towel, obviously you're drying off that spot and going back and forth with that drying, wiping, and adding will build that up. Let's do a little dry brushing, get that light ripple effect across the water. And let's grab the number 4 rigger and place that in. I personally feel, just tool-wise, when I mix with the rigger, I get a better concentration. That's probably due to the fact that you'll have you know, water retained more with the hake brush. The hake brush is goat's hair. This guy is a synthetic, but I use the number 4, oddly enough, for water retention. This video is going to be terrible, especially with Hammy crying the whole time in the background. I'm going to let him back in. Maybe he won't start chewing on paintings. Hammy. So this is just a more concentrated usage of this mixture. We're exploring the tonal ranges of Indigo with Vermilion. We get a neutralized color with the mixture. The neutralized color, to be honest, I'm not too much of a fan of with this one. I'm not sure if I would use this mixture so far. Again, hey Hammy, you want to come up? Let me get Hammy. Ham. Come up. No, don't lay down. All right. There you go, Hammy. You might see his paw right there. So I'm going to paint with a cat on my lap. He's purring up a storm. So at this distance, I'm going to hold the brush on the end and use it for that sideways dry brush technique. All right, Hammy, don't get your paws wet. I'm so glad we trimmed his claws the other day. So hopefully in this video the tonal values are coming through. We haven't done a dry off yet, so we haven't experienced a tonal shift that takes place. see what happens. Hammy, what you see? If they hide a camera, Hammy. That Hammy, no. There you go. He is a big cat. Okay, let's get some more paint out. Like I said in the beginning of the video, this utilizes a lot of paint. You having fun, Hammy? Okay. You trying to slide off? Yeah, he's trying to slide off. Okay, let's mix this more on the indigo side and see what happens there. Throw some foliage texture up here. Get a more solid dry brush effect in the water. Going horizontally so that we keep that water plane taking place. What you doing, Hammy? Now, let's take a moment. Let's do a dry off with the blow dryer. So if you have earbuds on, cover your ears. We'll see how everything looks and what range we have of values. Okay, let's take a step back. We'll look and see everything's relatively dry. I commented before that it's very neutral. The tonal range is obviously possible with this. We got extreme darks before the dry off, which was good. We could get the lights obviously. Here you can catch a little bit of that wash that I did with the Vermilion in the beginning, which I find that to be very, very nice right in here. So I think preemptively, planning wise, if I was to redo this and use this combination again, I would do a heavier wash of the Vermilion and let that show through more in this region, give kind of a sunset effect. The purple aspect, we can see a little bit of the textured indigo in here, and then we get to the darks. It's scraped back nice and well. Here's where we did the circle from the magic eraser. But compositionally, I am not too happy with this. I do like the indigo that showed through here. What I'm going to do is add a landmass in this region, and we're going to create more foreground trees. So that's where we'll go with it. So now we're going to be painting pretty much on dry paper. But as you do this, be aware that once you start painting it, you wet that area, so if you come back in with other color while it's wet, you'll get a diffusion where you charge the color in. This art room is so crowded and has so many different things in it that I guess Hammy does have a lot you can explore. Surprised none of the other cats heard him or came running, because they were always trying to get in this room. Hammy, I have a box with, I don't know if I mentioned, still life stuff in it, fake flowers and all that. I think you tried to climb in that box, but when you climb on top of fake flowers, you're just gonna sink down into them. Let's use the squirrel mop here. So you really don't need more than 2 or 3 brushes with watercolor, especially if you're doing a fast and loose watercolor style. I'm using it because I saw a interesting effect take place when I was using it last time. And it's something that I haven't used in a while, where you can charge the brush with different colors. In fact, let's see if we can do this here, or different tones. So we have more of a mixture that's brown. Then on the end, I'm going to grab a higher concentration of the indigo. And we'll do that. So the effect that I'm trying to get here is to have the light and the darker values in the one stroke. Let me dry this off so we're not painting wet and wet. So if you have earbuds, watch your ears. So let's come right about here. I do not have the brush wet enough. So let's start that out again. Oh, now we got Harrison coming. Hey, Harrison. Harrison's our little one-eyed bandit. He lost an eye when he was young. I did not get quite the effect that I was going for with this one. I'll practice that and I'll make a video on that for you all if you would like. It's a technique that's used in Chinese flower painting, and these type of brushes are very good with it. I just haven't tried it with the mop brush and haven't done it in a few years. Use this for calligraphy type effects. Let ourselves loosen up and create a grouping of trees. You can do this with any brush, really. You can use that number 4 rigger. It might take a little bit more time due to, the size. You can use the hake brush on its side. Okay. Speaking of hake brush, let's come back in with a stippling effect. Since the sky is dry, we'll be able to get a lot more texture. wash this off. Take a sit back, see what direction we can experiment in. I think I want to try washes now with the Vermilion over that sky. There's that area that I really enjoyed. I really want to see what it would look like in a higher concentration. Unfortunately, it's after the fact that the sky has been painted, but we'll put that in and we'll see what we can have happen with it. So time for another dry off, and we'll do that in a moment. Let's see. Let's since we're using this small tray, you all remind me next time I go to the art store, I'm going to buy a third large palette. One of the large palettes is dedicated to gouache, the other one to my basic standard palette of watercolors. I need next one for complementary colors, so I don't have to wipe off. Let's try that wash of Vermilion. Brush clean, get a mix of Vermilion wash. This might be too much, but we're experimenting here. And I'll lift that spot back up. That. It's adding a nice overall tonal effect. So we're just taking a wash of the Vermilion. I'll even bring it down into here. Let me get more pure water. You could also just take the hake and do broad strokes with that to pass it along. Hammy, what you climbing into, buddy? So it's almost like a glaze in oil painting. Where did that magic eraser piece go? Do not know. I'm going to cut myself another piece. If you're following along, you know, obviously be careful cutting stuff. All right, I'm going to want darker indigo in this front corner. So let's kind of play with pure indigo application, see how that looks. It will have a little bit of the vermilion mixed into it, but can't be helped. Let's use it to accentuate some darks and shadows. Yummy. Can't be chewing on that. There you go. Now let's see. So this is darker, almost pure from the tube indigo. I'm not sure if I'm liking that application, so let me mix it back to a more muted. Bring out some darks on this tree. Let's do a dry off, take a look. So there's a few areas that are still damp, so I just need another 10 seconds to dry off. Okay. So we did the wet and wet application. We looked at the tonal ranges where we were able to see the light to darks that we can get with this two-colored mixture of indigo and vermilion. We then played with a wash of vermilion over the whole scene. Played with a wash of indigo, kind of for darker areas. Wasn't too happy with that indigo. Harrison, Hammy, oh, they're both in. Hammy. And this video has just been riddled with disasters with the cats coming in and out. Let's kind of just darken some fine points, and we'll call this one done. Now with trees and foliage, you're going to want to either apply over the same trees that are there if you want to darken, or create new trees on top of that in other locations alongside, closer in the picture plane to create a depth, a grouping of trees. Bring our reflections down. We'll use the magic eraser, see if we can pull up more with that. The colors scraped very well, so there was really no staining aspect happening. It's an interesting color combination. To be honest, I would use it for the slight mutedness, but I would mainly focus on the potential washes of the Vermilion. I think that's where the beauty is coming through in this color combination. Down the line, if you all want, we can experiment with different brands of indigo. As in the beginning I said that I believe that indigo was often nowadays produced as a mixture of a blue and a black, but with this tube I was wrong. It's two different, it's a blue and a violet that it's used to create it with. And like I said, I have an oil paint that's made with I think 2 blues for the indigo. So different brands will vary wildly with what they use for it. A great example is Payne's Gray, which we always talk about, and how that's a black and a blue mix. And you can mix your own Payne's Gray from either 3 colors, which was the traditional method, or nowadays some people take black and mix cobalt blue into it if you wanted to get it yourself. So there's different ways to get these colors, and the pigments that reside within the tubes can affect the color quality of your painting. So that's why I harp so much on what's residing there and how they're interacting. Let's straight from the tube, dark, kind of the underside of these guys. Add some dimension to these groupings. So it's definitely a fun combination. Vermilion and indigo are colors that you may not commonly have in your collection. Vermilion can be replaced with either a light red, like not really light red oxide, but just like a red, but they call it like a lighter red, or a cadmium red light. Indigo can be mixed, so you would look for those. And of course, once again, to reiterate, these ones aren't actual indigo and they aren't actual vermilion, because vermilion has, I think, toxic poisonous tendencies and light fastness issues. Same with indigo. Down the line, we'll look for other combinations to play with. This one was kind of just spur of the moment. I do want to check out Indothrone blue mixed with some type of yellow. I think they call Indothrone blue a steel blue. Let me see. Not a lot of companies make it for some reason, but Da Vinci does. So that's something to look into. And then we'll look for other, we'll just continue doing a series of two-tone, two-colored paintings. And I'm sure my application results in kind of a muddiness of it as well. So your results may vary. If you have any cool color combinations that you like, please, comment and let me know. I would love to try them out. I'd love to experiment with them. If you have any that you would like me to try out, let me know. So let's do a dry off. We'll put a mat over it. We'll look at our final scene. Move that out the way. So if your earbuds on, watch out. I have no idea where I keep on putting the cuts from the magic eraser. I've cut from this twice and both pieces disappeared. It might be blowing away when I use the blow dryer. Anywho, I just want to see if I can bring back the white of the paper some more here. You may not be able to see it in the video, but the paper is starting to get damaged because this is an abrasive. But there's no chemicals taking place. Just lifting the surface of the paper up, bringing that reflection down. And being that it's a tonal type painting, tonalist type painting, if you try it out, of course you could add black or white to this this mixture. Let's see. Add a mat over it. We'll sign it. Close the knife up. Sign it right down here. So if you made it all the way through the video, thank you for watching. I apologize for the cats and the distraction. They can be a little noisy, but I love them. And please like, subscribe, follow. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, there's links for that below. Check me out on other social media. If you ever want to buy any of these paintings, they're usually listed on Etsy, so check that out. All right, thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.